Coach, you've seen Nebraska play twice, against Minnesota and against Colorado. They gave up 36 points against Colorado, and yet you really like what they're doing defensively. Why?
Yeah, 36 points. That's not the story. The story, that Nebraska defense, I think they're playing their hearts out. They're playing great. It's a new scheme, but even better than that, it's a well-coached defense. They tackle in space, and they play really hard. New D coordinator Tony White's done a phenomenal job. Shedeur Sanders threw the ball for 500 yards the week before. The hottest team in the country, you know what they do? They shut him down in the first half. You know what the score should have been at half? Should have been 0-0. Matter of fact, it should have been 3-0 Nebraska. But, you know, they're turning the ball over on offense. But the defense is playing their hearts out.
I can tell you this. I know one person that agrees with everything you just said, and that's head coach Matt Rule in Nebraska. Here's what he had to say.
I thought the defense played really hard and well for long stretches, and then eventually just kind of wore out. Really the same tale as last week, just versus probably a little bit more explosive offense that, you know, the game got away from us.
Coach, you've talked about the effort, but this is an unusual scheme. Take us through the scheme.
I actually cringe when I see it. I hated seeing this defense. This is called the 3-3-5 defense, and it's making a comeback. 3-3-5 is this: 3 down linemen, you got a nose guard, 2 defensive ends. You got the Mike linebacker, you got the Sam, and you got the Will. That's a 3-3. Then you got the 5 secondary players. Why would you go to a 3-3-5 defense? Number one, the multiplicity of blitzes you can come up with. You've taken a down lineman and moved them back. Now you got these 3, add these 2 safeties involved. That's endless as far as the blitz combinations. The second one, take a close look. Former offensive lineman. Offensive linemen want double teams. They don't want single blocks.
Right.
This forces you, when you play a 0-nose and 2-5 techniques, it forces you into what? Single blocks. So there's no double teams and multiple pressure looks.
Coach, we're going to talk about the pressures, but before we do that, one of the advantages of this defense, you say, is opportunity to drop 8. Go through that for us.
Yeah, normal defenses drop 7 people. 4-man rush,
Right.
They drop 7. The quarterback's used to that. There's usually 3 deep, 4 underneath. And what happens when you have a 3-3-5 defense, it's very easy, you can see, to get 8 people in coverage. 1, 2, 3 people rush the quarterback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in coverage. The quarterback, Shedeur Sanders here, he's been programmed for the last 15 years being a quarterback of 4-man rush
Right.
and 7 droppers underneath. You can see right here, his brain, he's locked up here because there's an extra dropper underneath. And what I mean by that is, watch. Usually there's 4 droppers underneath.
Right.
What do you see here? There 1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5.
Right.
He panics and he throws the ball and puts his guy in harm's way here.
So it's a combination of pressure when you want and the exact opposite when you want, dropping 8.
If you want to drop 8 with 4 down, you have to drop a defensive lineman.
Right.
You don't want to drop defensive linemen. You want to drop linebackers.
Coach, we've seen the base, 3 rush, 8 drop. Now let's look at a pressure.
All right, here we go, 3-3-5. The 3-3-5 is still same personnel. You got their 3 down men, the 2
Right.
down linemen, 2 defensive ends, nose guard. That's the Will linebacker, that's the Mike, and that's the Sam. Once again, the multiplicity of blitzes that you have. And they've been showing this off and on. I was at the game watching this. Looks like a 0 coverage blitz. 0 coverage means man coverage, man coverage, man coverage, straight across the board, no safety help.
Right, right.
So the quarterback knows that you got to get this ball out of here fast. And what happens is, as they pressure, they bring all 6. At least it looks like all 6. But what happens? They're dropping a guy out. So it's actually 5-man pressure. The offensive line picks the wrong guy to slide to, and the guy comes free and gets a free hit on the quarterback. There's a risk here. It's 0 coverage. You better get to the quarterback fast, and they do.
That's impressive. Coach, we've looked at the 3-3-5 on tape. We've looked at the base. We've looked at a pressure. Let's review the base and get into the pressure. And I'm really proud of you the way you drew this like a defensive coach. I didn't know you could do that.
First, again, when I see the 3-3-5, I start shaking here because I can't stand this defense. I can't stand playing against it. But a quick review here. The number 1 reason why people love it, blitz combinations. Number 2, no double teams. As you can see, they're all individual blocks.
Right.
And number 3, drop 8. You saw the video earlier. Look how easy it is to drop 8. You got 3 rushers. Normally speaking, you have 4. And what happens is when you drop 8 people, there's an extra dropper underneath. Shedeur Sanders for Colorado, great quarterback, had 500-plus yards the first game, was confused at least in the first half against Nebraska. So the one blitz I want to drop, the multiplicity of blitzes that you have because you're taking a defensive lineman, you made him an out linebacker,
Right.
you put a zero nose on the center, which all centers can't stand that. But let's take a look at the pressure that Nebraska used. They're playing zero coverage on the outside. What zero coverage mean? That means there's nothing deep.
Right.
Everybody's got a man-to-man, 5 across the board. And then you have the 3 linebackers with the 3 defensive linemen, and you can come up with multiple blitzes.
Right.
This one they came up was fairly simple. Sam walked up off the edge. Will walked up at the edge. The nose went the backside A. Mike hit the front side A. Colorado turned that cat loose. He came upfield and then dropped underneath. This guy was free. The offensive line got confused. The quarterback got confused. Why? You don't see 3-3 stack very often, and there's so many multiplicity of blitzes that you can see.
Yeah, Tony White, who's running the Nebraska defense, has done a terrific job implementing it.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't lose their stinger because they're playing great on defense. They're struggling on offense. It's a long season. Keep playing the way you're playing.